Hey everybody, welcome out to the Turn-Based Comedy Podcast, also known as the TBC Podcast. Every Sunday, and sometimes Wednesdays, here on turnbasedcomedy.com or YouTube if you're lazy. But we love you anyway. I am Herao.
I'm Dentonymous.
And we do not have a third host this week because we love you and thought throwing Party Cat on you would just ruin your taste for cats for life. That is incorrect. Party Cat thought things were happening. He was supposed to be here. Things aren't happening, apparently, according to him. So anyway, this is the Turn-Based Comedy Podcast. And last week I said we'd fix our intros.
Yeah, this one's not that great. It's kind of a lackluster. But at least we weren't talking over each other. That's always a positive.
We could. I mean, the show's still early. Fuck. Anyway, let's jump right into the action because this is a podcast that likes to talk about stuff that's not us. We are not into ourselves that much. But you should go to turnbasedcomedy.com. But anyway, this past week, we've gotten some pretty big news considering some major films that are close to our hearts because we're nerds. Some of us are geeks, but most of us are nerds. And I'll let you take this one, since I took them all last week.
Oh, okay. So, Marvel and Sony are rumored to be planning... Sonya? No, I said Sony.
Okay.
Have been... Fuck. Marvel and Sony are rumored to be in dealings to bring a Spider-Man cameo to the Avengers universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, we might finally be able to see Spider-Man, kicking ass with Captain America and Iron Man and stuff like that. Although, it's most likely just going to be like a walk-on cameo, really.
Yeah, like, show that he's there, everybody gets their boners, and then he's gone, 20-second cameo.
Yeah, it feels like that's basically all it's going to be. I remember, I heard a thing that they were discussing putting the Oscorp Tower that was used in Amazing Spider-Man in the background, like in the skyline of the first Avengers, which would have been really cool, because it would have been the simplest thing for them to do. They could have done it digitally in post, which they would have done anyway, and it would have worked really well, especially if they're going to put in one of these cameos and stuff, although then it's kind of, cancelled out by New York kind of getting leveled and it never being acknowledged in the Spider-Man world, but whatever.
Well, you could look at it this way. The Amazing Spider-Man movies could take place, like 5 years before the Avengers took over New York and trashed it with aliens and whatnot. Spoilers if you've never seen the movie.
Well, even then, they could always just plead multiverse. They could always just have some kind of accident involving Ant-Man or whatever, bring Spider-Man from his universe into the MCU.
Yeah, they could.
It could work.
I mean,
and
go ahead.
A potential plotline there, especially since the ending of Amazing Spider-Man 2, spoiler warning for those who haven't seen it, you could always have, Spider-Man come into this universe and then kind of be like, wait, so Gwen could be alive and like be trying to search for her?
What? Gwen's dead? You son of a... No, I'm kidding.
But yeah,
you're not supposed to spoil shit for the host, man.
I feel like that would be a cool plotline for them to follow, and
it'd be interesting, but the movie would be so Spider-Man centric that it...
Well, have it as like a subplot. Like while they're doing stuff, he's kind of like, "Hang on, I'm in another universe. Gwen might be alive," and then have like Tony or someone be like, "Well, she may not have even existed in this universe."
Seeing as Spider-Man doesn't exist in this universe.
Exactly. So they could easily do something with it, or even if they just had that universe's Peter Parker kind of existent, but not be Spider-Man. That could work.
True.
Like a name drop.
Yeah. I don't see Sony letting Disney basically have Spider-Man be a star of the movie at all.
Oh yeah, no.
That would require a lot of money that Disney's not going to give up, and Sony's going to be like, well, we have our own shit, and we're not here to make you money. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. We're not going to get the full Marvel lineup that we've all been jizzing about, basically, since the idea of the Avengers came to be. But that's because when Marvel gave away all the movie rights to everything, this was before Disney bought them. So,
well, it's annoying purely because, you know, Marvel created the characters, so they still technically have some kind of ownership of them. So you feel it's almost like they should be able to say, "Hey, we want to include this character. We're giving you like a notification that we want to use it. Either we can use yours or we can make our own." I feel like that should be kind of how Marvel's is able to run things. But
the way it was written before, Marvel wasn't a movie making company when they gave away the movie rights to X-Men and Spider-Man. They gave the rights to, you know, Fox and Sony before Disney bought them. Therefore, the bullshit of, well, we don't have movie rights to use our own characters, which is just totally fucking bullshit.
It's completely stupid, and I understand the copyright laws behind it and everything that make it so they can't. It's just annoying because it's got such. It'd be really great to see, you know, these stories actually come to life that you see in the comics and everything. However, the only thing that's preventing that is the capitalistic nature of companies like Sony and Fox, who are like, no, they're our character, you're not touching them. It's like, they would be able to make so much money putting in that character with the Marvel Universe that's being established by Marvel/Disney, and it would generate them so much more money and hype and popularity with their movies, because people will be like, oh, they actually matter. Not that they don't matter, but they'd have more meaning and more continuity to be included with the actual Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I feel they should do. It feels like the thing they really should be doing.
Well, just take a look at the Fantastic Four. They're literally phoning in a movie that everybody's going to hate, and everybody already hates, even though it's still in pre-production or maybe production. Everybody's going to hate this movie. Like, they're literally phoning it in just so they can keep the Fantastic Four rights away from Marvel.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying that they're doing that. I mean, I didn't absolutely hate the first ones, but...
Well, you have a man crush on Chris Evans, so...
Chris Evans is the most gorgeous thing to exist. However, that aside, I didn't find them that bad, and it's probably because I didn't really know the Fantastic Four when I saw it, and I was, you know, younger back then when I first saw it. So it's kind of got more of a nostalgic feel to me.
See, I used to watch the Fantastic Four cartoon when I was a kid. Way back in the 80s, so...
I didn't even know that existed, so I don't have as much of an emotional attachment to it, because I never saw any other incarnations of it, really. The only other thing I could look up is old archives of comics and stuff like that before that. And I feel like the movies weren't that bad. I mean... One of the biggest complaints I see is they don't have chemistry. Like, the cast doesn't have chemistry between them. I think that one actually is kind of bullshit. I think there's a...
I think they were good movies, too. And it was the actors that made it a good movie.
Exactly. I think the actors were great. I think Chris Evans was made... Well, at that time, Chris Evans, he was made for playing the Human Torch. And... I can never pronounce or remember his name. Iona, I think it is, who played Reed Richards. He is perfect for that role. He looks like the perfect Reed Richards. And, Jessica Alba, I mean, Invisible Woman, you could really just put anyone in that role.
Jessica Alba.
No, she did good. And she'll probably always be Invisible Woman to me, and how I picture Invisible Woman. But... at the same time, I feel like there's probably someone else who's better. I just don't know a lot of female actresses who, as opposed to the male actresses. I don't know any actresses.
I love all the male actresses.
I don't know enough, to be able to judge if anyone would be able to make a better Invisible Woman. That's just my opinion.
From what I understand of the new Fantastic Four movie they're making, Invisible Girl and Human Torch are supposed to be brother and sister, right?
Yeah, and the Human Torch is being played by, what's his name? Michael B. Jordan, who played... I can't think of his name. He was one of the guys in Chronicle. and I've seen him in another movie. He was in That Awkward Moment with Zac Efron.
Okay. But my point here is that there is a certain element here that I don't want to get into that kind of makes the believability of them being brother and sister a little off.
It's annoying because they're just going to play the adoption card, if anything.
Yeah.
Or like half brother / sister. That, or they just might ignore it entirely, which I could see happening, but if they're going to keep them having Sue Storm and Johnny Storm as their last names, as their names, then they can't really ignore the whole brother-sister thing.
But don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that there's no room for, black people in movies or black people in comic books, whatever.
Oh, I completely agree. If they were going to do it to Reed Richards, I wouldn't have cared as much.
But
it's only because of the brother-sister thing.
At the same time, why can't we make new characters? Why do we have to go and take characters that have been established for fucking 70 years just to fit in this, we gotta appease the feminists, we gotta appease the activists, whatever. I don't get that, personally.
Just quickly, who makes the Fantastic Four movies? Isn't it Fox?
I believe it is Fox.
And Fox also own X-Men. So why the fuck aren't they doing a Fantastic Four X-Men crossover? Because that is like the perfect thing to cross over.
I have no idea. But anyway, it's kind of like...
happens.
But to end my point, the Green Lantern, they didn't go and just say, the original Green Lantern, I can't think of his name right now.
Hal Jordan.
Hal Jordan. They didn't say, okay, you're black now. They went and made a new character to take over the Green Lantern mantle. Jon Stewart, I think.
That sounds about right.
I could get it wrong. That's what they need to do. Kind of like the new Thor deal. They didn't go, oh, well, sex change. No, they brought in a female character to take over the mantle of Thor. Or, we could make new comic book heroes themselves instead of, changing things that have been around for 70. Yeah, it wasn't politically correct back 70 years ago. Okay, it's not politically correct now, but whatever. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way, but at the same time, movie makers going to be playing off the nostalgia factor and thinking that they can generate a lot more money off something that's pre-existent and that people have a connection to. Like I was saying, I didn't really have a connection to the Fantastic Four. It was just a movie around at that time, and I just liked it because, I was a kid and it was an enjoyable film. And I was actually really excited when I saw at the end of Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer that they'd set it up for a sequel, and I was so upset they didn't actually do a sequel. So I was excited when they initially announced the reboot, but the more I hear about it, the more it just seems like an unnecessary thing. And unless they tie it into the X-Men franchise, I'm probably not going to find it that spectacular.
But if you want an example of how to turn a white character into a black character, look at Nick Fury. That was a perfect example.
Oh yeah,
or even looking at the Daredevil movie, which everybody hates. That was a perfect.
I still haven't seen that.
They turned the Kingpin into a black man, and it worked. Everybody hates the movie, but not because of Kingpin. I can tell you that.
Didn't Dark Knight change someone to be black? Commissioner Loeb? Is he meant to be white?
I have no clue.
Okay,
but I will probably watch Fantastic Four. I'll probably I don't hold movies to the same standards everybody else does. I go to a movie, and if I enjoy it, it's whatever. Even if the story's a little stupid or the characters are bad actors. I mean, I watch Power Rangers, for God's sakes. I don't have high standards. I just go to the movies to enjoy myself, which makes me like the worst reviewer ever. Because I'll be like, oh, so how was Transformers 4? It was alright. No, it sucked. Do not go to Transformers 4.
I have to just quickly say, while we're on the topic, I actually didn't like that at all.
I don't think a single person did. Which sucks because the cast is a shit ton better than what was in the first three movies.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's really annoying that, they were like, oh yeah, Dinobots. And I was like, oh fuck yeah, Dinobots. It's finally going to do something good. And I feel like everyone was feeling that way.
5 minutes of the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, it was literally 5 minutes and one shitty
spoilers.
battle. Oh yeah, spoilers.
Should we name this episode Spoilers?
Probably.
Yeah.
And what was it? And just overall, they focus so much on the human characters and their emotions and their relationships, and it's just like, it's a fucking Transformers movie. You really don't need to be going into this. What I really hope is that they take the ending of the movie, and again, spoiler, with Optimus Prime flying out into space. I hope they take that and they actually have a movie with the Transformers in space where there's no humans, it's just Transformers.
Well, Optimus Prime is pretty fucked to humans during the movie, so...
Exactly. So I'm very much hoping that it's not going to be, oh, I forgive the humans, I need to protect them and everything. I really just want it to turn into just Optimus Prime going through the space, traveling after their creators or whatever. But back onto the original topic, with changing characters to to be more racially and sexually, generally more neutral. I feel as if this is a good segue into the kind of related topic of Iron Man, because Iron Man is eventually going to be given up, and they're either going to recast him or they're going to replace him with War Machine, Iron Patriot. So,
well, there are some interesting stories they could go with to do the transfer over. As we'll get into later, there's news of a certain movie happening soon. It'd be the perfect opportunity to transfer the hero status of Iron Man over.
Exactly, and I think if they do Iron Man 4, as Robert Downey's just a few hours ago come out and kind of dropped on us.
By the time you listen to this, it'll be a day ago, but yeah, whatever.
If they actually go through with it, I hope they take the opportunity to swap the Iron Man mantle to someone else, purely because Robert Downey Jr., I'm pretty sure, is over being Iron Man. As much as I hate to say it, like, I can understand why he feels that way and wants to. I'm really upset because he really suits the role of Tony Stark.
He does. I forgot what I was going to say, but when I first started watching the Marvel Universe, the established cinema universe, Iron Man was pretty much the one thing that got you to go to the rest of the movies. And I think this is a good time for him to kind of ease out of the role. Because at this point, you've now, he got you to go in there and see, Iron Man, or not Iron Man, what the hell am I talking about? Captain America, Thor, He was
the gateway hero.
He's the gateway to the rest of the heroes. And now everyone else has kind of established themselves, and they're all pretty big deal. They're making decent movies, at least. Captain America's kicking ass. Thor's making okay movies. Hulk should never have his own movie ever again.
Well, if they're going to do just quickly back to the Spider-Man thing, my first thought was going to be they might actually make a Hulk movie and have Spidey as like an assist character, like Black Widow in Captain America 2. So the Hulk having his own movie and having Spidey as his kind of sidekick in a way would work really well, because they usually do team up in comics and stuff. Yeah.
But the one thing we really want to see is Fox and Marvel team up and give us Wolverine versus the Hulk. But I digress. Right. That has been said 1,000 times, well, more than 1,000, probably like 1 billion times on the internet by now. But anyway, our final news has already been spoiled over here, because this is a spoilers episode. That Robert Downey Jr. went on The Ellen Show, the episode that aired on Tuesday, October 7th, I believe.
Yep.
And she straight up asked him, is there going to be an Iron Man 4? And he was basically trying to get out of it, saying, oh, well, there's contracts and blah, 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 and yes, there will be an Iron Man 4. And it was like, oh!
Because we didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Well... It's exciting news if you like Iron Man. I kind of like Tony Stark in the Avengers movies. Iron Man 3 kind of started to get a little stale for me. It was a badass movie, don't get me wrong.
I hated it.
But it just had a still, we've been here, we've done this. The characters, wanting out of this, it feels like that. Whereas the Avengers, he has people to build off of, and especially Hulk. But anyway, I think we should stop talking about Marvel now because we've already alienated all of our audience just talking about Marvel. Well, I have basically.
So let's go into our usual topic of Nintendo.
Yes, the Nintendo podcast is ready to talk about Super Smash Bros. 3DS.
Take a shot every time Herao gets really fanboy-ish.
I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't know, Super Smash Bros. 3DS came out this past week. At least in the United States. I don't know about Australia, but...
Yeah, no, it came out here as well.
I'm not feeling it. I played the demo. The controls were weird. I know you can...
I completely agree. I hate the controls so much.
I know you can change up the controls, but it just did not feel right in my hands.
What, you can? I was looking for
At least in the main game you can. I don't think you can in the demo.
Oh.
But I did see in the main game you can change the controls, which is good. Because the demo, I was like, I cannot play this shit.
I think that's a really bad idea. They should have put it in the demo purely because I found the demo annoying purely because of the controls, and it makes me not want to buy the game because I don't want to buy the game and hate the controls and then not play it, and then have wasted my money. So if they put in the demo that I could change my controls, I would be like, whatever, I can change the controls, get used to the controls, then buy the game. But no. So now that you've told me that I can actually change the controls, and I might feel more comfortable playing it, I might consider buying it now.
Yeah. There's also the other consideration that the non-violent Japanese race here are destroying the circle paths on their 3DS over Smash Brothers 3D. And I could see that happening. When I played the demo, I was being really gentle, and I kind of sucked because of it. But if you get really into it, you're really competitive. I'm not a competitive Smash player at all.
No, same.
But I could see getting into it, yeah, you're going to break your fucking 3DS.
Oh, yeah.
So I would recommend buy a Wii U. My personal thing, I'm not going to buy Smash until it's the Wii U.
They announced the release date for that. It's December 6th.
That's a pretty awesome day. It's going to be an awesome day.
Have you heard that?
No, I did not hear that. This is the first time I heard it.
Oh, well, that's good news for you.
Right here on the Turn-Based Comedy Podcast.
But you know what would be great, and this is how I was going to try and transfer from Marvel into this, would be seeing like a Marvel Avengers DLC pack to have Marvel characters as well.
Marvel versus Nintendo.
That'd be cool.
We already got Mega Man, who's in Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're kind of getting there.
I hope Nintendo capitalizes on the whole, potential for DLC for that game, because you could release character packs so easily for that game and have the roster just ever growing. And honestly, it seems like a potential Nintendo should capitalize on.
The problem with this is, and I've said this before on various podcasts I've been on in the past, the day Nintendo realizes they can make a shit ton of money off of DLC is the day I stop being a Nintendo fan. Because Nintendo takes things and they go to the fucking extreme. Mm-hmm. With everything. They're like, holy crap, we can make money doing this? Oh, everything's going to be DLC. And that's what scares the shit out of me.
I completely agree with that, because Nintendo's great because they give you the full game, one cost. You don't have to do anything extra. And, companies like EA and Xbox, they kind of thrive off you wanting microtransactions and bonuses for your avatar, which mean absolutely fuck all. So I understand, I respect Nintendo for that, and it definitely makes them one of my more favorite companies. But at the same time, if they fairly price it, then it's going to be really, really worth it. I feel if Nintendo make the pricing worth it, it's definitely going to be worth having Nintendo DLC.
At the same time, if Nintendo can keep making 100% complete games, and then adding their, DLC's bonus, it's not going to make you better at the game. It's not going to, finish the game.
Exactly.
It's
I
not
don't
going to game making. You can't make game making DLC.
I don't want it to ruin the story. I want any DLC to be an expansion. Like Harley Quinn's Revenge from Arkham City. Spoiler alert, if you haven't played that game by now. I mean, it's a few years old, but whatever. It's great. It expands on the story. It continues the story. And, it's not something you have to play, but it's there, and it's a great thing to play. And, it wasn't that expensive to get as well when it came out. So I feel like if Nintendo kind of followed that idea and kind of went, well, it's not going to unlock everything that you'd have to play through the game to unlock anyway. But, like I said, like if they had a Marvel pack for example, $5 and had like 20, 25 characters of just different Marvel characters, it would be great.
Yeah.
But, I don't want that to be like, pay $5 and you unlock all the characters. I don't want that. I want to play the game, unlock all the characters, and then have these extra characters that I can buy if I want to.
Kind of like them putting Link in Mario Kart.
Yeah, exactly.
Something a little different, something a little more fun. If you're into Marvel characters, that'd be kind of cool. Don't see it happening. Disney and Nintendo kind of hate each other. Yeah, but they're probably going to be one company here in about 10 years. But whatever. Speaking of 3DS games, though, the 3DS itself became a little more fun this week.
Oh, yeah, and I've had personal experience on this with the recent update. It's actually really, really cool. They've now enabled themes, so your home screen can actually have a custom appearance to match or just look unique to your DS. So if you have like the Zelda 3DS, then you can have the Zelda theme from the theme shop, and it'll display your home screen and your icons and everything with a cool interactive theme, with the background being Link themed and all the Legend of Zelda kind of symbols appearing all over the place, which is kind of cool. Although, like we were saying before, that the Nintendo will never capitalize on DLC. They're charging for each theme.
Really? How much?
Yeah, I think it was like $1.20 or something, which kind of seems like a bit of a rip-off. Like, I get the effort that goes into it, but
at the same time, they should at least have like 15 like basic themes that are free, and then have the premium themes or whatever you can buy.
There's 5 themes included, which are literally just colors. And if you go to my Twitter at Dentonymous, you'll see the screenshots I took of my 2DS with the black theme on. And all the other colors are just variations of that. It's just different colors. But you can buy Link and I think Pokemon and stuff like that. And like, Nintendo are capitalizing on this. They've gone, well, we now have themes. We're going to charge for the themes. So I feel like they're already heading in that direction, but they're charging far too much for these themes. I mean, they're really not a functional thing at all. They're really not, bragging rights or anything. It's like $1.20 for a specific look of your device, and it doesn't look that great. However, at least you can show it off with screenshots of the home screen now, which makes me really happy. 3DS can now take screenshots. If you hold down the Y button when on the home screen and press the up arrow, you'll take a screenshot of the top screen. If you hold Y and press the down arrow, you take a screenshot of the bottom screen. And that is actually a really cool feature. I like it. Although, it's only on home screen, not anywhere else, which makes me upset.
I'm sure they'll integrate it into games, which would be the point at some point.
Hopefully. Even if it's just you press the home button, and while on that menu, you can activate the screenshot mode.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting idea. Not sure I want to share my home screen with everybody, because why? But if I spent $1.20 on a theme, yeah, hell yeah, you're gonna be seeing that on the fucking turn-based comedy fucking Twitter.
Well, also, if you think about it, if you want to go and if you have all these like games downloaded from the Nintendo eStore, you're going to want to show them off and be like, hey, look, I own it and stuff like that. Or, you might want to show off your games collection. I understand that, but as someone who is exclusively only going to buy on physical copies of games, it seems like a bit of a useless feature.
Yeah, I mean, every single one of my 3DS games, except for Paper Mario, and it's probably only Paper Mario. Every single one of my games are physical. That's because I like to say you don't have that much space on 3DSs. You don't have that much space on a Wii U unless you get a extra hard drive, external hard drive. I'd like to save those for games I can only get download only.
Yeah, same.
Like Shovel Knight, which is an awesome game. You should buy it. You should definitely buy it.
I feel like I might have to buy it now.
Yes, you better buy it. It is the greatest indie game lately. Speaking of games, though, because this is totally gaming podcast other than that whole 30 minutes of talking about Marvel.
Game theory.
Don't get us sued. I hear there's a new Assassin's Creed game that's getting a lot of flack on the internet today.
Oh yeah, Ubisoft have come out and dropped a bombshell, and it's all in the name of
nuclear bombshell.
It's all in the it's all in the sense of console equality and unifying the consoles. You see what I did there with Assassin's Creed Unity?
Yes, sir.
So Ubisoft have come out and said, due to performance issues, and this being caused by NPCs that you can't kill and add absolutely nothing to the game whatsoever, so there's no point of them being there, they've had to lock the frame rate at 30 frames per second and the display rate at 900p. So these next-gen consoles, which are capable of 1080p and 60 frames a second, aren't
the
utilized.
PS4 is capable of that.
The Xbone is.
It's capable of upscaling.
So...
It's different, man. People notice the pixels. I don't, but people do.
So, Ubisoft have come out and said they've locked it at 90p at 30 frames a second, and...
Because one of the consoles, we're not going to say which, doesn't have the performance of the other console, which we're not going to say which.
So, they're all going to be like... I think this includes the PC version. This is also, this is for them to not benefit other some consoles over others and stuff like that.
So if I bought the game on my PC, I couldn't be like, fuck you, Mr. Xbox, my game is a shit ton better than yours.
Pretty much. We can't be all PC master race in this biz. But I'm sure people are going to hack it and make it work, so who cares?
They better. That's the only way I'm going to play the game, because fuck playing a game at 900p.
Yeah, no, it's stupid. It's such an odd resolution as well.
I guess I should put a little disclaimer here. We're not really graphic snobs. Like most games I play are 8-bit. So it's all a joke there. I don't really care. The FPS, yes, is a big issue. But 30 FPS can work if it's done right.
30 FPS can work well, and we've seen that basically, a lot of the games through 2000s and early 2010s have been 30 frames a second. It's only really in the last year and a half that they've been kicking them to 60 frames. And, well, at least that's my knowledge.
The real kicker was, though, Mario Kart 8 was 59 frames per second, which caused this really weird effect, like every, second, basically, frames per second. Well, that last frame, it kind of just skipped, and it's, weird, because if it's 30, it's going to look fine. If it's 60, it's going to look fine. If it's 90, it's going to look fine. But if it's 59, it's going to skip a fucking frame. It's really fucking weird.
The only weird thing about all of that, though, is crap. I forget what I was going to lead into.
I like talking. It confuses you.
Pretty much. Every time you go into a point, I forget what my point was going to be. No, I think I've lost it.
All right.
Oh, no. So racing games especially need to be 60 frames and stuff like that. So I feel like Assassin's Creed being 30 frames isn't going to be the end of the world. I think it would just make it, more more responsive, more reactive, and everything. But I feel like 30 frames per second for an Assassin's Creed game of all games isn't going to be the worst thing. So I think a lot of people are being fussy about the 30 frames, because who cares? It's 30 frames a second. Like, freaking hell, be happy about that. Whereas I'll give people the 900p thing because everything's capable of 1080p. Sorry.
180p. That is really shitty quality, sir.
Yeah, everything is capable of 180p. Everything's capable of 1080p, so they might as well, do what they can. Yeah, even if it's like 1080p 30 frames a second. Like, seriously, make it a standard size, not like 900p, which is kind of fucking random and in the middle of everything.
I agree.
But, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it other than, obviously, we're at a time where graphics are kind of peaking. Like, we're not going to have huge gains in graphics. But at the same time, you kind of want to see the best when you're buying a game, because games aren't made for gameplay anymore. They're made for pretty graphics.
Especially when it's a game from a company like that. A company like Ubisoft always tries to go into the whole, oh yeah, our games are great, AAA games with high quality graphics and great graphics team and mocap and everything. It's just you really think if they're going to put that much effort into everything, they might as well go all out and try and actually reach the full standard and impress everyone and win over fans who are graphic noobs or graphic aficionados. I'd like to correct myself. So I feel like, it's really not that big of a thing, but I understand why people would be pissed off.
I do too. But I think that it's going to be alright for one game in this next generation.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, we cannot make this a pattern with games, even though, honestly, I don't really give a shit about graphics. I mean, I've been playing games, in 720p just fine.
Yeah, same. I'm very fine with 720p.
Yes, games look a lot clearer, and they don't have jaggies, and I think that's what they're called, jaggies. But at the same time, I play games for fun, not to be like, oh, I'm watching this pretty game. No, I'm playing this fucking game. If the game's good, who the fuck cares what...
Did you mean Metal Gear Solid 4?
I didn't play Metal Gear Solid 4.
Neither. I've just heard it's a lot of cutscenes and basically more of a movie.
There are a lot of movie games out there, and I'm tired of it. Make a fucking fun game. Go back and look at what these indie studios are doing. They're not really studios. Oh, yeah. They're basements, but... Go look at Shovel Knight. Look at that. That is a beautiful, perfect fucking game. And it doesn't have the best fucking frame rate and graphics and yada yada. It's just fun. Make a fun game. And that is the Turn-Based Comedy Podcast for this week.
What a dark note to end on.
If you like what you see, hear, personally, please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, like this video on YouTube, subscribe to us if you want.
Check out our website.
It makes us feel good. We have a website, turnbasedcomedy.com. I'm Herao. That's Dentonymous. And we'll see you, or we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you earlier. Probably more on time, closer to Sunday.
We'll try. Anyway, thanks for listening.
See ya.